Short Muloto, who was a colleague, both as a player and as a coach, who Coach James Mabena. Ngulise nama former students in School of Excellence in Baboni Levangeli International Transfer Corner. We also have our director, the academy, Paulo Cardoso. And if you allow me, just to say something about him. We had visited the School of Excellence from Mamelodi Sundowns. I'm wearing a badge of Mamelodi Sundowns, Kotamzukuluma, Coach James Mabena. The journey that has taken me 33 years. And I'll say a few things about that. Paulo Cardoso is our academic director, is from Portugal. He has recently joined the Mamelodi Sundowns Academy. And I remember when our teams came to play here, I introduced him to Coach James Mabena, and I actually said, you guys will need to have a meeting and just talk. I don't want you to hear everything about the school from me, because I left the school, but Coach has been there. Coach James has been there, so I want you to just discuss. He will tell you more about the school. And ever since, wherever we met, Coach James, they would greet each other. And the last time, if my memory serves me right, it's almost 2 to 3 weeks ago, I think 5 of August, or if not September, when the school visited us. And again, it was a meet and greet. Now, the reason in Funukusho something, it's something putting throughout the world. We are guilty of not acknowledging people that have played a prominent role, either in sport, in politics. We always wait until we pass on. So on Monday we had a management meeting, and I already told him about the sad passing of Coach James Mabena. Now here's a man who's hardly a year with us, and who has met probably Coach James twice or thrice, but he took it upon himself, for 1 minute or 2 minutes, to pay a special tribute for Coach James Mabena. And they made sure that within the management, those that maybe didn't know Coach James Mabena, but within 2 minutes, he was able to tell them who James Mabena was. From his days playing as a professional player, from his days playing in the Black 11 with the likes of Jomosono, and currently as a servant of youth football with the School of Excellence. And he mentioned that it's important that such people should be acknowledged. So for me, it touched me a lot, because, like I'm saying, here's a man coming from overseas is able to say those things when whatever Coach James has done has been documented. So I hope if we have media people there, this should not be the end of celebrating Coach James Mabena's life. We owe it to him, we owe it to his family, his children, and everyone that knew who Coach James Mabena is. And if you were paying attention to Usman, James Mabena is. And I want to thank him for articulating the real Coach James Mabena. But also to thank him because for those of you who know me, when it comes to giving speech, I can stand here for 3 hours or even 5 hours. Especially if you consider the journey that I took with Coach Mabena. 33 years, it's a long one. But thanks to Spali, I will try and be brief, and also to my ill health reason, I cannot stand for too long, but I will try and say 1 or 2 things. It's been very difficult. I have not yet recovered from the loss of Coach Mbatha. At one stage we were called the Three Musketeers, because wherever there was school football, wherever there was school of excellence, we'll be there. Especially when Coach Kevin, my colleague came, whom my apologies, I didn't acknowledge. Also a founder member of the School of Excellence. He left us to join Cape Town Ajax. So he left us with Coach James Mabena. To begin the journey, I first met Coach James Mabena, and I'm happy there's a director and owner of a team, I don't know whether the team is still alive, called Spurs. I'm not sure whether he was coaching that team when he retired from football. He's from Mabena, and they used to play some of their matches at Elka Stadium in Soweto, where I stayed around. And I used to go and watch their matches there. And at that time, he had a young player by the name of Joseph Botoso Makanya. Some of you know him. He was one of the special players that this country has ever produced. He went on to play for Orlando Pirates, and he was a captain. May his soul rest in peace. That's where I began, for lack of better word, in love with Coach James Mabena. Because he loved beautiful football. And he was not just talking about beautiful football. He will make sure that any team that he coaches plays attractive, winning football. And we started to engage each other. And thanks to our mentor, the late Ted Dimitru, we made it a point that we can all come together. This was early 1990, and eventually we started what was called Transnet soccer clinics. And the pilot project was at Orlando Stadium. And Coach James Mabena was also a manager at the mines in Western DP11, but also involved in football. And when we started talking youth, he also started a youth development program, which to his credit, with the few players that he had, but he was able to produce players like Sipho Nunes. I'm sure some of you know Sipho Nunes, who went on to play for Mamelodi Sundowns. He was called a sensation. There was also a player called Albert Mukomiti, who went to play, I think, for Cape Town Spurs and later for Morocco Swallows. And sadly, there was one player who could have taken this country by a storm. I still have to see a lot of players that can really match the young men's football skills. Mfuneko, sadly he passed on, and he already got himself a professional contract with Supersport. And Supersport had to grab him because already he was in the books of Feyenoord in Amsterdam, in Netherlands. So that was the work of Coach James before even he came to the school. That he was able to already, with little resources and not much of players that he can recruit from. Those of you know it's a small town in West Rand, Carltonville. But Coach James, because he had an eye for youth, and not just any other youth, special talent. So myself, together with Coach Manda and Terra Sipua, we will travel from time to time to visit Coach James at his home, and we'll spend hours and hours. And one of the reasons that we would travel to go and see him, Spali Sakashi, Coach James will talk football. All our telephone bills were so high that we said, guys, we cannot afford to be paying, a lot of money for phone calls. Let's go and visit Coach James and be at his place. And that's what we used to do. And that was before the School of Excellence. And we enjoyed, our trips, because we know whenever we come back, we'll come back fulfilled. And we all had this dream, of saying, one day, if we were to work together, because we are of the same school of thought, I think we'll make wonders. And through God's divine intervention, that happened, in which we were able to start the School of Excellence. Now, Coach James couldn't join us immediately, as I have alluded to you. He had a very good job, in the mines, and he had a very good support from all of us, because besides talking youth football, he was managing some other senior teams there, and with us in the townships, coaching amateur teams, we also arrange matches to go and play there. With the help of Coach Kevin, I remember our under-17 boys were to go to Italy for a tournament. The likes of Stephen Pinar and then played Dominic Isaacs. And Coach said, hey man, Coach, this will be the first time for us to go, in Europe, and we are told it's very cold, and I think we're going to be going there when it's very cold. We need to prepare these players in what to expect there. And he said, but we have Coach James Mabena in the mines. If we go there in the evening, it's very cold there. And at the same time, at that time we didn't have a youth team. So you can imagine we're going to take under 17 players to go and play against older players then. Our Coach James says, no, guys, you are always welcome, come. So part of the preparation of the then School of Excellence boys, when we were around here, was not just playing around here or with their peers, but we always make sure that we expose them to very, very difficult conditions. We take them to the mines. They will kick them. I remember one day, Stephen, I know, coach, I cannot take it. These guys are kicking us. Use your skin, to protect yourself. So that's the journey we took with Coach James. And at the same time, it's like proposing to a beautiful girl who knows that I'm beautiful. It's always, because they say, no man, I'm not yet ready, to live and just focus on football because I have something. Actually, I have started something. I think that's one of the things that he will say to us, to say, hey, I've started something. I don't know if I live here. Who said, but Coach James, we need you. This is a big project. We all dream about this. Come. I remember we had to advertise for the post. And I'm not exaggerating. School of Excellence, was gaining momentum in terms of being very, very popular. The whole country. We must have received more than 2,000 applicants. And we had a panel, independent panel from Transnet Sports, a combination of people that have played rugby, played cricket, and as a manager, I was involved in that panel of shifting, until we had about maybe 10, candidates. And we look, then eventually decided, no, only 6 of these guys are going to be interviewed. And Coach James Mabena was one of them. And he came, and I was just quiet and just listening how he was articulating his knowledge of football. And I think he came as a 3rd candidate. When he left, the panel said to me, but Hussein, why are you playing with us? You've got your man already. Why do you still have to look and what? No. Hussein, if you still want to see others, it's up to you. But you've got a commitment. Okay, because of that. But that's how good Coach James was in terms of his knowledge about the game. And what I found out, which is very important, you cannot just, and with due respect to anyone that is involved in the game, whether as a coach, as a player, as a manager, Coach James was a student of the game. I'm sure his family, they will, confirm it. And personally, I learned a lot from that to say, look, you cannot be a good coach without knowing what is happening in other sports. Coach James will import books from athletics, from this. He will tell you, hey coach, there's a nice book that a coach from this sport, has produced. And Coach James used to carry a lot of books. He was a student of the game, and he will share his information. Then that's how Coach James came to the School of Excellence. You can imagine over more than 2,000 candidates, and he stood up and he became one of us, and we learned a lot. And I must also say this, to pay special tribute to him. Some of us, we didn't play professional football. And Coach James embraced us. Here is a man who has achieved so much. but he was prepared to sit around with people that never played the game, share ideas. And through him, that's how even today, we have Trotmlord. I don't call him Trotmlord. We call each other Mfana. Because it reminds us of the days of the School of Excellence with Coach Manda. They went on to embrace us. Coach Trot will always invite us when he was either coaching Bafana, under 17 national team, Mbatha Baxi. He said, "Hey, you guys, I'm having a camp, come." And that was true Coach James Mabena. I still have pictures where, together with Sheikh Mashaba, who also was a colleague of Coach James, not just in playing but in coaching, they embraced us. And that's how the likes of Tomosono also came on board. They embraced us. And we gained confidence. Here we are. Never played professional football. Big names in football are embracing us. And they really took the best out of us. Because we dare not to disappoint them. We had to work very, very hard to make sure that their names are being upheld, you know. And I think we have managed to do that. That is why even today, you know, one is still very close to Trotmlord or Jomoso or Sheikh Mashaba. It was true Coach James Mabena. So his role was not just about him playing as a professional player, representing South Africa or Black 11 at a time, and also working at the school, producing, you know, a lot of, you know, very special, talented players. But I could say he also indirectly play a role as a mentor, because he will bring the professional experience, you know, playing football experience, which we didn't have, and we valued it. And our approach was then holistic for us to be able to produce what we produce. And I want to say thank you, Coach James, and thank you to his family. Thank you to all the relatives and everyone, because really, I wouldn't be standing here if in my journey I never came across a person like Coach James Mabena. When we talk of football, Coach James Mabena was not compromising. And Uspali spoke about legacy. They building something. I agree 100%. But I'm going to challenge my colleagues here who are in youth football. The best legacy for Coach James is to not compromise on what God has given this country in terms of talent. Coach James was never satisfied. You can win 10-0, but he will say, Marvis Gari Religion. Coach James will talk about some of his colleagues, you know, to say, hey, I heard so-and-so are interviewed, talking at Amari. Siyababiza nje nakuthi ama-legends imali. Bangadlali ibhola elinjani. Anyway, in meetings, we had several meetings at SAFA. When SAFA came on board, I'll say it, where you fought them left, right, and center, uncompromising, to say we should not drop the standard of how we play this game. No one can come. I remember there was one colleague from Germany. The meeting was even closed because Coach James couldn't compromise it. These people, they mustn't think everything is starting now. And the reason for him saying this is because whatever that Coach James has been exposed to here that has been done was validated by the world. Not just in terms of the players going and play overseas. At one stage, we counted more than 14 players in the Bafana national team coming from the School of Excellence. At one stage, there was no team in the PSL who didn't have a player coming from the School of Excellence. The many trips that we took overseas, this is the reason Coach James was so stubborn, uncompromising. And maybe, I don't know whether he has discussed this or talked about it with his players and coaches. Every time the School of Excellence will play any tournament, use Northern, USA, America, Europe, Japan, South America, Bolivia, there will be a round of applause when the team is finishing. And sometimes the team has lost, but the kind of football that these boys will dish, there will always be a round of applause. And to move from the field, it will be very difficult because we'll be mobbed, by the people who came to watch. They want to sign autograph, they want to talk, and coaches, where's your hotel, where do you stay, you want to come and talk to you. That was the work of Coach James. And that he embraced it. And he said, Coach, we are not going to compromise. You see the people of the world, they can see what is it that we can produce. So we are not going to compromise. And one of the inspiration, I would say, source for Coach James Mabena was the Brazilian national team. Coach James had all the tapes, especially the World Cup games, from the era of Mabena. When I first saw there was a player called Rai, he went on to play PSG. He's a younger brother of Socrates. Coach says, Coach, just watch this player. And later on, it was Kaka. Now I'm saying these things with one reason. If you've watched Rai, you've watched Kaka, then you can see the similarities with Stephen Kinane. Then you understand why Coach James was like this. Because these players I'm talking about were not the robust players who want to bulldoze everything around them, who want to use speed, but it was more playing intelligence, more finesse when they are technical ability. And that's what I want his legacy to be. Everyone that is involved. Let us not compromise because God has given these boys a special talent. We should not compromise. If we really want Coach James to rest in peace wherever, he must see some changes. Even us at our club, I'm happy I've got my director. He's also a firm believer because there are so many players under his belt. He knows what we're talking about. Abonani, Cristiano Ronaldo, players that really will make an impact in the world stage. And they are sitting here. And that's what my director always says. Coach, the next Messi, the next Ronaldo, he's here with us. He's not in Europe, he's not in South America. So for us to really make sure that the legacy of Coach James Mabena lives on forever, let us not compromise. Whenever he had compromised, we'll do trials. Okay, I'm about to.
Bluetooth muted.
Coach James will say, where there's some, and not always. That's the funny part of us. Because we will agree with everything, especially when it comes to football, the type of player that we want. But there will be time, maybe there's 4 of us, and only one of us says, but no man, I don't tick all the boxes about this player. And Coach James will come and say, guys, we're going to take him. And especially, you know, when we come, you know, across white players who don't have the natural ability, there will always be some debate. And Coach James will say, Coach Samtata, can't so challenge. How are we going to challenge ourselves if we overlook him? And I've got an answer. And that coach, no funny 10-16. Those of you who are familiar with mechanic in the cars, there's what do you call it, a spanner. That is called 10-16. It does everything in a car. Coach James will say, Coach, we'll use the spanner 10-16. We'll fix him. And believe me, you know, within a year, all of us were hit. So what I'm trying to say also has a special eye in terms of identifying the potential. To say, maybe for now we don't see what we want to see. But if it's in a program, then we'll see that there is a talent. And once again, I want to say, members of the School of Excellence, you know, we have Ukavi Lango, who has tried his best, you know, to update us from the word-go about Coach Mabena. And I know he's devastated where he is. I want to wish him strength. Yeah. I want to give him strength and say, we are your colleagues, you are around, and for anyone around, you know, the coaching staff around here, we will always be there to give you strength, to support you in all your endeavors. I was hoping when I told you earlier on that sometimes I can speak for 5 hours, that I was going to be stopped earlier. But I see I'm carrying on, but I'm going to stop now. But I want to say, 33 years with this man. 10 minutes to speak about him is not enough. Because I'm sure I've touched mostly on the serious stuff, but there is some other stuff. You know, Coach James had a lot of sense of humor. But maybe I'll leave this to Coach Kevin to say something. Program Director, thank you very much for this opportunity.